What you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Sheriff John Brown come for you?
The Good, the Bad, and the Guilty is recorded live with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Now, here's your host, Iredell County Sheriff Darren Campbell.
Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Guilty. I am not your host, Darren Campbell. As it says on your screen, I'm your guest, Matt Burleyson, Captain Matt Burleyson. Welcome to the show today. We got some special guests. We're gonna be talking about some very important things today. We always talk about important stuff, but this is going to be some stuff you want to talk with your family about, maybe your kids. It's going to be some involving not really sensitive issues, but things that we need to be aware of. So this is a special month for several different reasons, and we'll talk about that. First, I need to tell you where the sheriff's at. All right, we were just talking about it on the break, and the sheriff is in Samarkand, and everybody looks at you like, "Excuse me, what was that? What did you say?" But Samarkand is a very nice new training facility for law enforcement, and currently our CERT team is down there with some other ones from around the state, and that is I believe it's an old youth development center, training school, if you will, from the old days. And it has been converted to a very high-level training facility for law enforcement with the shooting lanes, 1,000 yards, the pistol range. There is a school that has been turned into a facility where you can actually go through and have active shooter training. There's also a shoot house, and there's a simulator. So classrooms for the boring stuff, obviously, but a lot of good training. And I found out from my guest here that they have some good food. So
the best
food. So introduce my guest to you today. This is Lieutenant Daniel Icard. He has, I don't know if he's been in studio here before, but he's been on the show before many times. He's an old hat for the show. So Lieutenant Daniel Icard will talk to you about his unit, the Special Victims Unit, which has expanded and grown over the last several years. And he chose the lovely and talented Detective Sergeant Katie Campbell. So, and it's because of her specialty, not just her loveliness and the talent, but and her radio voice that you'll hear momentarily.
I got suckered into it. What it was.
Well, first, Daniel got the sucker.
Right.
You know what he tried to do? So I texted him, right? Call me when you're not busy, because you know how it is at the office. We're always busy. So he called me right away. So that's a good sign. He's very interested. Well, then he got a phone call. I don't know if he called himself. I don't know if he told somebody to call, but he got a phone call. It was a phone call because I'd hear it ring. It wasn't like, hey, I got to go. Hour and a half later, crickets, radio silence. Hey, Daniel.
The Special Victims Unit works on special projects.
Right.
That's what it was. So he was especially busy, but he did make it in here. So thank you guys for being here today, and this is a great studio. Thanks CJ for turning the air condition down for us. We dress for success, and you guys look lovely today. So thank you for all you that you do the dress for today.
Thank you for your critique.
Exactly. Is that a Denver Broncos tie? Is that the orange and blue? It just hit me.
It's a tie.
It's a tie.
That's about all I got for you. That's all I know.
That's great. Well, again, we are in the Purple Heart Homes studio. We appreciate WSIC giving us the opportunity to be here. We really appreciate our gracious sponsor, Harrison's. Have you been down to Harrison's lately? You're kind of a cowgirl at heart. You've probably been there and gotten some boots and some of those Western wear stuff.
It's possible.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have an aunt that works over there also.
Oh, really?
Nancy, she does alterations.
She's the one. Okay.
Her and Wilson, her
well,
little
that's
four-legged
great.
companion.
Yes. Well, we love Harrison's. There's a little slogan that they have that they have the sheriff read, and I don't have it with me because I wasn't prepared enough. But I'll just say that Harrison's is great for what they do for us. It's not just about law enforcement uniforms. It's about workwear from the home to the field to the farm to the club. I mean, that's the country club, obviously. But they've got some nice stuff there. I remember they have lots of Crocs. They have lots of those bog bags. You know what a bog bag is, right? They got those. The Uggs. Is that what they're called? No. What are those other shoes? I mean, they got more boots and shoes than you can imagine.
It's a big place.
It's a big place, yeah.
For sure.
So down there in Mooresville, across from Walmart. Also, they've got stores in is Winston-Salem, and then what's the little town up there below Lenore?
Hudson.
Yes, Hudson. Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So, yeah, we appreciate them. Thank you, guys. Go down there and support those guys. Christmas is right around the corner. You can get you a new pair of boots or some Marriott, some Carhartt. They've got all that stuff down there. So I said this was an important month. I know there's a lot of stuff going on this month. We switched over our badges, those of us that have the pink badges, and that was a very special thing that the sheriff let us do. Well, he did. I think it was Stacy that got him one, and he told us if we wanted to get our own, we could wear them, and that's been a pretty awesome thing now for over 10 years. We've been able to wear those badges, and it just symbolizes the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and gets a lot of attention and positive, especially from the community members, and it affects a lot of people. So it's also Crime Prevention Month, so I'm really busy with a lot of things going on. We've got a lot of officers out at a lot of events.
I bet you are.
Yes. Oh, yes, exactly. So there's lots of fall festivals because it's the Trick or Treat Month. And let's see what else. Fire Safety Prevention. That's not ours. That's the other guys. But that's going on. I'm sure there's a few other awareness and things going on in October. But our special guest, and the reason I wanted you guys to come out, is this is Domestic Violence Prevention
Awareness month.
Awareness. Okay, domestic. We want to prevent it, but it's actually about awareness. So, and you guys were all wearing purple. So I think that's going to debut on Facebook here maybe next week or something. Yeah.
And I believe Domestic Violence Awareness Day is October 16th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's usually the day everybody would wear purple for
wear
Domestic
purple,
Violence
so-
Awareness Month.
Well, and that's one of those things. So we'll make sure Miss Dara puts that out. So I wasn't aware of that. It's October 16th day. So
I believe
and-
that's right. We may want to check out.
Well, we'll check
before
that
we put
National
it
Calendar
out.
Day stuff, so
Yeah.
we'll see about that. But domestic violence is something that we'll dive into it a little bit here momentarily or at our next break. But it's something that affects us all. And I mean, working with the school resource officers, there's young people that are affected by it, dating violence. You've got, of course, your husband and wife, your other non-traditional relationships. You've got lots of domestic violence is basically just violence in the home, and it can have a lot of physical and emotional effects. And those are things that luckily enough we've got special victims unit where the sheriff has gotten these more trained individuals. So you've only got 50 seconds. So I'm gonna let you count in your mind. I want you to give me a number. How large is a special victims unit now?
12 detectives, 2 supervisors.
All right, okay. And you guys shoot at me. What is it? What is the stuff that you do? Economics, crimes, what hit it?
Financial crimes.
Yep.
We have the domestic unit,
Right.
obviously. We have sex crimes and missing persons. And then we have the sex offender registry detectives.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was me putting him on the spot because he's
Well
been
done.
sweating that. Now it's over with.
All right.
See,
That's
now
it.
we'll take the spotlight off of you and we'll just put Katie on the spot now. But no, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about some of those individuals, the different specialties and units, and then we're going to get into Katie and domestic violence. So, guys, tune right in. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to WSIC's Good, Bad, and the Guilty. I'm your host, Captain Matt Burleyson. We're joined by Lieutenant Daniel Icard and Sergeant Katie Campbell. Thank you, folks, for being here today. Thank you for the great job you did before the break with your vast unit. Brief synopsis. Tell me what some of those units do and their importance to the work that the Sheriff's Office is doing in the community.
So basically, any sort of specialized investigation that's not narcotics is housed underneath our unit. The sheriff has worked to expand our units and recognize the fact that there's a lot of things that require specialized attention. It's really hard to throw all of these specialized specialties into a general investigation pot and expect people to be able to do it all.
Right.
So we have the financial crime unit or the economic crime unit, dealing with anything scams, frauds, identity theft, card fraud, anything like that. Domestic violence unit, of course, handles DV cases and the such. Sex offender registry goes out, checks on people that are supposed to be on the registry, make sure they're where they're supposed to be. They also act as the primary server of domestic violence protective orders.
They're the uniform arm, I guess you'd say, of the special victim unit.
Yeah,
those
they are.
guys
So
uniformed.
they're still providing that same function, but a lot of what they do is investigative too. So they are detectives now, and but it is still good to have that presence out in the community with a uniformed officer. But they serve the 50Bs primarily, and that's turkey foot to Mooresville.
Right.
I mean,
and it's only two.
Correct.
And there's quite a few hundred, 200 and some, 300 sex offenders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot, and that's not even counting like when they're building out cases. Generating search warrants.
And you mentioned how the sheriff expanded the unit. I know that not only finding the right people to work the cases, but a big thing of what we do is education, like we're talking about on the show. So I know that those guys go to a lot of churches and events, and I give you guys lots of calendar invitations. The sheriff says, send them over here, send them there. And they do a really good job. So
that's good to hear.
But there's a lot of them. I think, as a matter of fact, I got one or more too coming this month. So
we'll handle it.
I'm sure you will. The fall festivals, those I know that you had reached out and tried to let the officers know when they're in the communities, when we're going by, checking on our churches and schools. We need to know when those are. Why is that important?
So our office personnel is putting together a list starting now. Trying to find all the trunk or treats or fall festivals or whatever, what days they are, when they are, where they're located. We're trying to develop a list, and then we try to make the most sense of how can we put as much manpower at each of these as possible. One of the big things is with our sex offender compliance guys, they're out there making sure that there's nobody there that's not supposed to be there. So knowing beforehand where all these are going to be, we can make a more of an educated plan on how to deploy our personnel to be as effective as possible.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally you think about Halloween trick-or-treating October 31st. And yeah, that's a big night. And it's a big night for sex offenders, pedophiles, because all the little kids are out there trick-or-treating door to door. And we want to be out there, and we are out there. I know that two-person unit that you've got turns into 8 or 10. I've seen the roster before on that night. But there's so many more schools and churches and community festivals that we still want to be a part of. We want to be a part of them there. I know the Bearcat's going to be at several this month and those things, so you can invite us out to that. But let us know. Call the office. Send us an email. If you got our app, send us a message on there. Just let us know when those are so that, like Lieutenant said, we can deploy our resources so that we can provide the best service to the community. So that's really important to have. So thank you for that. So reports start on the road.
Correct.
Uniformed officers go out, whether it be the fraud case, somebody got scammed, somebody got assaulted at a domestic violence thing. So they're there, you're not there, but once they do their investigation, their case, they get everything. What does Detective Sergeant Katie do now?
So after patrol does their part with the case, whether they make an arrest, When they go out, they see signs of injuries or more evidence that leads them to see that they have legit reason to arrest someone. The case will come to me, and I'll review everything, make sure they have statements from witnesses, victims, pictures. And a lot of times we all know that the injuries change, bruises change color the next day. Something will show up that wasn't visible the day before. So we reach out to the victims, we'll do follow-up statements, and a lot of times they may have been really upset during the time and weren't able to give a good statement about what took place. So we'll follow up and take another statement and talk to them, and they can give better detail to the events that happened. And if we see fit, we can go back and take out more charges.
Right.
And there
So
are times.
you backing up, you said about, and I didn't mention that, they don't just take a report, they make an arrest.
Right.
And so they can arrest one or both parties or however many
They
parties
can.
may be involved that particular incident. But
Right.
but an arrest or a charge doesn't mean they've been guilty or, I mean, it's
No.
just, it's the start of the process. And you're there with the victims, the special victims, the domestic violence victims. You're able to go through that with the process with them.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So while we have the victims with us, we like to educate them, let them know of different resources available to them so they can get help. Because unfortunately, there is such a large recidivism rate with domestic violence, and we see a lot of the same victims over and over again. The best that I've been in, I started out in the Special Victims Unit 2014, and some of the same suspects I'm dealing with now are the same ones that I've dealt with when I started. And the best feeling you actually get, the recidivism is really, it gets to you. You get aggravated with it. It's easy to because you care about people and you want them to get out of the situation.
Right.
So the best feeling is actually seeing that person move on.
Yeah.
And what I tell people is that to get, they get out of it, but the same suspects I have, I see them with other victims later on down the road, and it's just a cycle that keeps repeating itself with other women or other men. 'Cause
Right.
it's,
Right.
men just as much as it is women.
Right. Yeah, there is domestic violence where the woman is the perpetrator and the
Yes.
man, or
yeah.
again, there can be non-traditional relationships where you have, situations that happen. Well, is there a definition for domestic violence? Is there, what does domestic?
Anyone that's ever been in a dating relationship, whether it's married, and even when you go to get a domestic violence protection order, it has a little more to that. You can actually have been living in a home together, and including with our domestic violence, it also includes parents, children.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So, I mean, you could have grown parents or something in a case. I mean, and so
Right.
like you guys do like elder abuse too cases.
That's correct.
Yeah. Would that also be considered a domestic violence issue?
It depends. It's really dependent upon the circumstances.
Okay.
It may go to them. It may go to the sex crimes folks.
Okay.
Even though it's not necessarily a sex
Right.
crime.
Right.
If you're looking at more of a elder exploitation where their funds are getting depleted by a
Right,
family
right.
member, then that,
Yep.
of course, would be our fraud unit that would handle
Wow,
that.
okay.
It's very dependent on circumstances.
And then child abuse could also be a sex crime, or it could be other types of emotional cases or something that they dealt with. So you had said the DVPO, you said 50B, it's a protection order. What does it take to get that, and what is it?
Okay, so a 50B, it starts out as an ex parte. If you feel like you're in fear of your life or being harassed by someone, what you do is a protection order. The judge can issue it, and it'll order the defendant to stay away from the victim. They're not to have any contact through social media, phone calls, third parties, direct contact or indirect.
And ex parte is
An ex
Latin
parte
for
is an emergency.
It's Latin
protection
for
order.
one party, one person.
Right.
So one person can go and they can give their statements and their fear, their grounds for it. So they ask for that.
So that's what they do in the beginning. They'll go talk to the judge, tell them their story. First, they'll have to fill out the paperwork. The judge, if he feels like it's an emergency order that needs to be placed right then, they'll go ahead and grant that order until a hearing. Notice a hearing will be served on the defendant to show up for a court date, and then he'll be able to go on that date and represent himself against the
this
plaintiff.
case. Yep.
Right.
What happens to the house and the children?
So with the house and children, when a plaintiff, if the children are in harm's way as well, the plaintiff can file extra paperwork to include the children. If the judge sees that they're in danger of being around them as well, they can include them in the order. So they'll take paperwork to the schoolhouse if the kids are in school to let them know that the defendant's not supposed to be on the school property. The plaintiff will take the paperwork to where they work at to let their, co-workers, employers know that they're not supposed to be on the premises. And when the judge, if the order is granted, it can last for up to 1 year on the initial time that it's granted. And then if a victim feels like they need it to be continued, they can actually go back 30 days before it expires to have it renewed, and it could last for 2 more additional years on top of that.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you next about what happens if the order is violated.
Okay.
But you're going to wait until after the break to tell us about it. So, guys, tune right back in. We'll be back in another couple minutes with Katie and Daniel here. Thank you. All right, welcome back, folks. We're live in the wonderful Purple Heart Home Studio with WSIC. We are the good, the bad, and the guilty. I'm your host, Captain Matt. We've got Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah.
It's Sergeant Katie.
I go by
I've been
many
meaning to say
names.
that. So, backing all the way up, I'm a very rude host in that I didn't allow you to discuss your background. You're old like me. You've been at this a while, but give us your pedigree, your history. Where'd you start? Where'd you go? How'd you get where you are?
Oh man, pedigree might be classified as a mutt, but
give me
so started in Alexander County in law enforcement. Came down here for better opportunities. Worked patrol. Worked property crimes. Transitioned over to the economic crime unit. Eventually was promoted to sergeant and then lieutenant, and here I am.
There you are, exactly. And very much like the unit that I've been a part of for many years, the school resource officer unit, you see it grow from this size to this size. It's exponentially increased. So, we really appreciate how the sheriff goes to the county commissioners, and you've got the stats to show it. I mean, your fraud cases, and I'm spitballing numbers, but go from 300 to 700 in 1 year.
I would put the numbers of our fraud unit against other agencies' entire caseload.
Right. So your
From
fraud
a
cases
volume
are more
standpoint.
than all of theirs together.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And there's a lot of behind the scenes work that those guys have got to do. I know I've seen them typing search warrants, doing other kind of stuff like that.
That's very search warrant driven.
right.
Lots of
from all over. So
a lot of hoops to jump through to get the data that you need to successfully prosecute a case.
So, Katie, when I started here, me and you were school resource officers. You were here before me, but tell us about your history.
Well, 2005, I started out working as a detention officer at the Iredell County Jail. Did that for 2 years, and then I did transport for a year, and I went to school resource with you for a little while. And then I went to patrol. I worked some with Daniel on the road. And 2014, went into special victims unit with domestic violence. Then I've worked sex crimes as well while I've been over there.
So it seems like just, again, with these specialized unit SROs or whatever, once you get into that place, you find your calling, so to speak. You find your niche, and this is where I can make the most difference. And I remember going through my field training 15 years ago here and thinking that, hey, this, we had a child sex abuse case and $1 million bond. I'm like, wow, that's making a difference, because you've got those victims that can't really speak for themselves. You've got the kids that can't speak for themselves, the older folks, the domestic violence victims that often are in fear of retaliation and they can't do anything. So I told you before the break, the arrests. What happens? Is it serious whenever those the folks break their domestic violence protection order?
So, well, actually, going back to the arrest, like after someone's arrested for domestic violence and it involves someone that's been in an intimate relationship, the judge, upon their release, will give them pretrial release conditions, and in those conditions, they'll be ordered not to have any contact with the victim or to go back to the home. So, and those conditions last until the case has been disposed of in court. So if that case has continued for a year, then you're going to look for someone's couch to sleep on, possibly, because you can't go back home. If they violate that order, we can take them back to jail, and their bond, they'll go back on the same bond they had before. And the magistrate judges are usually double or triple the bond to what it was before.
Right.
So that's just with the pretrial release conditions for the original charge.
Right.
And then when you go back to the domestic violence protection order, if that's violated, that is a new charge in itself.
Right.
And of course, we'll take them back to arrest them and take
And the
them to jail
reason
for
that you want the domestic violence protective order, or you encourage it, is that's a way to like, we can't do anything until you hit you. I mean, that's horrible. That's not the case. We can help you help yourself, and you can get some protection for you and your kids. And, when you go to work and when you go to church and when you go to school, we can put that protection in place, and hopefully they don't get hurt. They don't have that. That's
right. And to get a protection order, you don't actually have to be physically assaulted to get it. We want to prevent that from happening. So if this is already, threats of violence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you even have stalking.
Mm-hmm.
So someone's in fear of continued harassment by someone, or even we have people with suicidal tendencies, thoughts, anything that someone would reasonably believe that places them in fear of their life. You can go to get a protection order for, and hopefully that's something they could do beforehand, so that we're able to step in and arrest them if they make a phone call. Something as simple as making a phone call, that's a violation of the order.
Or trying to use a third party to communicate.
Right.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
So tell your sister this, and whatever. Yeah. Okay. All right. What other avenues or options are out there for prevention? This domestic violence awareness. How can we prevent?
Being vigilant and just speaking out. Like we have my sister's house has an advocacy. Some ladies there that offer counseling.
So my sister's house, we won't discuss a location. You can't pick them up and call them or go by and visit, but it is a domestic violence battered women's shelter. They'll take the women, they'll take the kids up to 14 years old. Is that correct? I think that's right. Yeah.
They do. They actually have kids there that are younger than that.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Up to 14. At age 14, they can't stay in the house with the ladies.
They have, and they actually have a 24/7 phone number that you can call in and speak to someone for counseling.
Right.
And I can give you that number if you don't have it.
Right. Well, we've got that. I mean, that's something that you can call the office. I mean, it's out there. You Google it, whatever. But I mean, what is the number?
704-872-3403.
Okay, 872-3403. But again, you can contact us. I know one of the things we was talking during the break, Katie wanted the listeners to know that, if you see something, say something. Just like we tell our kids, family members, neighbors, friends.
The big thing in my mind too is people are in a bad spot. They feel like they have no avenue to turn to. They have no options. I'm stuck in the situation that I'm in. There are answers to those problems. They may not be perfect answers. We can't solve every problem for every person, but we can help you so far as what we can do as a law enforcement agency. There's also other assets there that we could maybe get you in touch with. So, maybe somebody's listening today, they're in a bad spot, reach out. Somebody somewhere cares about you. So talk to your family. If you have no family, you need to call us. Call us. We're here to be a resource. We're here to help.
Right. Exactly. And that's part of that prevention. I mean, there's a saying, was an ounce of prevention, whatever.
Worth a pound of cure.
Hey, that's you always got these. What was the other one you said during the break? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't. Anyway, that's great to be able to let them know that you don't have to wait to get hit. You don't have to wait to be in fear. There's emotional abuse that goes on, and then sometimes parents just have to step in for their children. They have to do this. I've got to go. I've got to leave this relationship because I don't want this to happen to them. Break that cycle. I know you said during the break, as long as you've done this and there's been, you kind of see that recidivism and the same thing, and you want to stop that cycle. So we're going to come back here in 30 seconds. We'll take a break. We'll come back 2 minutes later for our final segment. Make sure you go on Facebook. I didn't tell everybody in the beginning. We can take questions here for these fine folks and all their expertise. You can also get on the app. You can get on our app or WSIC app. Or I think they've got X. All of the platforms, they're all over them. So you can find a WSIC anywhere, and you can find ICSO anywhere. So we'll be right back, folks, in just a few minutes. All right, thank you, CJ. Welcome back for our last segment here. I'm looking on Facebook. I don't see any questions. I see that Major Fink's watching, so I'm sure he's approving. Aren't you in that office down there in Mooresville?
I was in Mooresville. I'm back in Statesville's office now. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian, she says. So.
Has he been on the show?
Has Brian been on the show? You know, that's a good point. I should have brought Brian on the show.
All I know is he's probably got the prettiest hair that you could ever put on the show.
The light would just touch it just right. So you hear that, Brian? You're going to be on the show real soon. So thank you guys for tuning back in. This is our last segment. I've got a couple of things to go over community UI, but most important we was talking about is these victims. During the break, we were talking about family members that may think that something's going on with their child or their, and this could be anything from the elder abuse. I think my parents being abused by their caregiver. You've got to get what was it you said? A cooperating
victim.
A cooperating victim. Okay, all right.
Right.
So we still encourage them to report, right?
Right. And what I was explaining to Lieutenant Burleyson is that, say that you are concerned about a family member and you reach out to law enforcement to look into the matter. Mm-hmm. We have to be careful, because if I show up at victim's house and the suspect's there and they want to know, like, why is this officer here, I may cause things to be bad for them when I leave. So you have to kind of be creative and come up with another reason for being there if you can't catch the victim there alone.
Right.
It'd be great if the person that's doing this reporting would give us a heads up of, hey, this may be a good means of contacting without letting the other party be aware.
Right. Here's how you can contact him or her. This is where they work at. This is, give them that heads up. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to try to call you with help.
Yep.
And there's an element of risk and danger. I mean, we hear about domestic violence cases and we go to robberies and break-ins and assaults and stuff, but what makes domestic violence so dangerous for everyone involved?
Well, aside from clearly the two or more parties that are involved, like us responding to it, statistically, it's one of the more dangerous calls that law enforcement goes to.
Right.
Generally speaking, that's a very high emotional state for all parties involved. Mm-hmm. People are agitated. Maybe more prone to violence in such a mode as that. So there are times, too, where I've seen you go trying to help Party A, you're arresting Party B, then suddenly Party A flips on you. It's not great that you're arresting the abuser now. I wanted your help to make it stop, but I don't want you to take them with you.
Yeah, they can't. Exactly. Get your hands off her.
Yep.
She's got his face all clawed up, and she's beating him, hitting him. Mm-hmm. And, we show up, and we put hands on her, and he goes, let go of my woman, Yep. I mean, so, wow. Yeah. And then you look over in the corner and there's kids seeing it and watching it the whole time. So, yeah, that's tough.
That's terrible.
Do you work with DSS and other agencies to help?
We do.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. We see a case come through that's involved children being in the home. Mm-hmm. We notify DSS.
And that can be an additional charge also.
Right.
Witnessing domestic violence.
Where there's assault with the child present?
Wow. Okay. Absolutely. So that's a crime in and of itself. And the emotional anguish that they sometimes experience. I think one of the things you had said, and we look for this with our school-age kids, and you can see it with adults. Change in behavior. They're bubbly, fun, outgoing, everywhere. Yeah. Go to church. They're Sunday school. They're PTA.
Right.
And then
they all of a sudden become isolated, withdrawn, making up excuses to cancel events. Mm-hmm. Those are things to look for. Mm-hmm.
So, not having friends. Before they were outgoing, they had friends. We see that at school-age kids. Mm-hmm. Now you can't be friends with anybody else. Right. And excluding them from other contact. So if you see your friends like that, that's something to reach out. Talk to your school resource officer, talk to your guidance counselor. Not everything is a law enforcement issue, but it is a life issue. It's something that affects the way you feel and do things. And, there's stalking and other stuff. We see a lot of that social media. people get on there and you can emotionally abuse someone, tear them down on their social platform, and that's school age kids. That's their life. That's everything. Their reputation.
The adults are just as bad as the teenagers.
They're worse
with the social media.
That's true. Yep, it's a place for them to be keyboard warriors. Nobody's going to see them. They can say what they want to say, and so. But we like to put a lot of stuff on our social media. We want to inform the public, let them know what's going on. You should have seen today the pink badge that we started wearing, and that tradition that the sheriff had started. That's something that I was able to get my badge on, and not everybody's able to purchase these badges, so we appreciate. I know that a church member has donated some badges, and those went out to some worthy individuals to be able to get those. So we just appreciate the community support. Speaking of churches, the Cove Church, it came out the other morning and fed us breakfast. The Cove in Mooresville provided pancakes and sausage. I saw you there.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
Most certainly did.
There was food. You saw Daniel there.
Yeah, that's right.
And I enjoyed it too.
Yep. So Southview Christian Academy had dropped off a basket of goodies in the patrol room back there. Eufaula Baptist Church brought something by as well. And I want to try to mention all these names, but there's always some that we forget. There was a Girl Scout troop came by. As a matter of fact, I need to tell you guys, Girl Scout troop came by, brought a big box of the stuffed animals, the ones like can go in the officers' cars. But obviously, you go back to the scene and you see them the next day. If there's kids involved, we've got those stuffed animals. They were all new, tags on them, bagged up. Some of them are like shrink, like, what is it called when you suck all the air out of them?
Shrink wrap.
Yeah. So you just pop it over. We did it with the little doggy up front.
Vacuum
Tilly.
sealed.
Vacuum
Vacuum
sealed. That's
sealed.
it. That's it. Yeah. So, but yeah, you pop it open, a dinosaur just expanded, little pillow. So.
And to build off of that, Matt, I'll tell you what, we are really, really fortunate here because we have a lot of churches,
Yes.
Community groups, whatnot, that are really, really supportive of us. And you don't have that everywhere you
I was
go.
gonna say, could
and
you
we really
imagine
appreciate that.
being in this career and being hated or feared or not supported? I mean,
Could you imagine working in like Portland?
Yeah.
Or, somewhere like that?
yeah, exactly, and not having
No.
a sheriff that everybody loves and appreciates the way that we do and what he's done. I mean, it's and somebody asked about the other day. We are deputy sheriffs. We are a reflection of him. He gives us our honor to do this, our power to do this. But if people didn't like him, they wouldn't like us. And liking us helps us do our job, and it's a great support. It's a good feeling to have that. But you can't do this forever. No. How long you got?
See, that's the problem.
See, I've got 3 years, 11 months.
When I've noticed this here about a year ago, when people start asking you how much time you have left,
Right.
I mean, somehow along the way, you transitioned into being the old guy category. So
I know I'm the old
that's
guy.
really not cool, but like 7 years and change to answer your
So
question.
you're not that old then. And
Not too-
Katie's
not
been
too
like
bad.
serving since lunch, right? So
Yeah,
she's so
I
young.
see it.
Yeah. But Brian Nichols, good old Brian Nichols, he's retired now. He had been with the agency since 96. Like you, Katie, started out in a detention center. I know we worked with him as a school resource officer. He was a DARE officer, sergeant of the SRO unit, and then got to go over to be a CSI guy, driving around the pickup, doing all that CSI stuff. They can have all that stuff.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'll tell you too.
Yeah.
Brian was always, if you were at a scene,
Oh, yeah.
hey, what do you need?
Right.
What can I do for you?
Yep.
Always willing to help.
So
I really
29
appreciate
years
that.
of service. We wish him all the well. We ate again in his honor yesterday. We had chicken tenders
I
and wings.
also was there for that.
I was there for that too. So we appreciate again the community support doing that. Citizens Academy is still going on. We will do that again in the spring. We had lake night. We had CSI night where they were able to dust for prints down on the lake. They got the ride on the boat. It's a beautiful sunset cruise. We appreciate the sheriff providing that opportunity. Good group of citizens that we got right now. The Spooktacular, Sheriff Spooktacular, coming up on Thursday, October 30th, and that is the big event to be at. You don't want to miss that. There'll be lots and lots of people there, lots and lots of candy. I hear tell there's going to be some big major sheriff's office vehicles there. You know, the big Bearcat and maybe the Rook. It debuted last year. There could be even more vehicles, so we'll see. But you could have a vehicle there. You could come out. We do our trunk or treat stuff, so you guys can set up and invite the kids over, and we'll provide the candy. You provide the trunk. We'll do the treat, you do the trunk. So I know my wife's going to set up one for that.
Big event.
Big event. Oh, yeah. Thousands and thousands of kids.
I was totally blown away, like, how big that has gotten.
Yeah.
Like, how many kids
when you
and their
run out
families
of
come
candy
through.
and you've got like 6,000 screaming kids and parents, and you've got to go to Walmart with like buggies full and try to make it through the checkout, like, we'll be back to pay. That's
When it peaks, it's pretty amazing to see how many people there actually are there.
But it's a great time. It's officers out there interacting with the community. We're happy to do it. They're happy to be there. It's a fun event. There's candy everywhere. Who can't be happy when they have candy?
Yeah.
I mean that's good times. And it's good candy too. So
Oh, yeah.
Makes me happy.
yeah.
It's the good stuff.
30 seconds. Thank you guys for being here. Any final words before we go?
No, I was going to let you know about the domestic violence walk. For the Domestic Violence Task Force is putting on a walk October the 15th, Upper Room in Statesville.
Okay.
They're meeting between 11:30 and 1:30 to do that.
That's awesome. Guys, get on social media, Facebook. Let us know of anything going on at your community, any events we can attend, those fall festivals. We appreciate that. And let us know if we can do anything else for you. Thank you for tuning in.